Now welcome back to the part of this series. Now this is the part 5, and now as of now we have dropped the Maggie into the boiling water, and now we are going to stir the Maggie with the boiling water so that the little bit hard and crispy वाला जो मैगी है वो अभी soft करना रहेगा, ठीक है. And now in the coding bhasha also we are going to link the SCSS part with HTML simultaneously and check the output. So we are going to first run the project ng serve --o and then hit enter. So we can see the output, screen output as of now. अभी हमने कहाँ तक काम किया है. So as you can see we have given the routing in the in the previous one. Upon clicking this thing we can go to the add new employee, and also we can see the path change over this thing. And then when you click on the view employees, now the path is gone because the path is empty when we are in the view employee wala screen. So now I'm going to give, so before saying what I want to do, now let me just minimize, and then inside the assets wala folder we need to add some images which we are going to work on in the upcoming days in this series. So that is, I am going to add these things which are present in the download section. I am going to just copy this, and then coming back to the Angular project employee table, and then src. Here we can see assets करके एक folder है. I am going to paste it over this. Okay. So these are the images that we are going to use within the project. Okay. So this is the project path, and when we can see, which we can see in the VS Code also, upon clicking the assets now we can see these are the different folders, images that I have added that we are going to use in the project. So now we are going to the SCSS part. Okay, the SCSS part inside the project. So before doing that, I am going to the style.scss. So this is like a global styling within the project, in which I am going to give star and then brackets of margin margin 0, and then padding is also 0. The box sizing is border box, and then so there is one more thing which we are going to use is the font styles. So for that, go to the browser, then go to Google fonts, and then go to the first one, the Poppins wala. This is one of my favorite, and you can also test it. So I need to do with this thing. So we are going to get font. So upon clicking this, we can see these are the different fonts that are present. I think there is some issue. Let me just, over here I'm going to give the Poppins. Okay, so upon view selected employees, you can, this is the one I have selected, and then the light 300, light 300, and then this is the selected family, download all. So this thing is a poppins.zip which I don't need. So let me just give me 30 seconds. I will tell you how to do that. Okay. So in this style.scss I am going to globally give the font style. So be careful while typing. @import of a URL, okay, https //fonts dot googleapis.com /css to family equal to Poppins, and then semicolon, weight, that is the font weight, @300, and display equal to swap. I don't even know what I just typed, but this is just the URL for the Google font. So here we are going to give font family as Poppins, sans serif. So let me just comment it once. Let me just show you the difference. So as you can see, when I click on this, the functionality is also working, and this and then just focus on the font style. So see, this is this thing. When I uncomment this font family from here, now see the font style has been changed. This is one of my favorite font styles. So yeah, when I give a star inside an CSS or a CSS, it will consider as for all the pages within the project. So I'm given a button separate class, so that is border 2px solid black, and the margin of 8px, which is having a text align as center with the padding of 10px, okay, and the cursor is a pointer, which means the cursor which I am showing over here, it will come out as a hand button. So that is a font. Now we are going to give font weight as bold, and the border radius for that button is going to be 10px, and also the background color is going to be white. So by default, this style.scss file will work globally within the project. So the styles which are given inside this thing, inside this style.scss, can be worked within the project also. So we have added the assets. We have also given the global styling of the font style, and one button which we are going to use commonly within the projects. So the things which are going to get used commonly, the DOM elements, the उसका CSS हम यहाँ पे लिख सकते हैं, that is style.scss. okay, style.scss, यहाँ पे हम लोग यहाँ पे common वाला CSS लिखेंगे. So I am going to close it because I have done the work in that. So now we are back to the view employee component.html, and I think now we are going to start with the CSS of this thing. So CSS and SCSS, these both are used for styles, but in SCSS we are going to create a DOM element, and then corresponding to that DOM element we are going to create the CSS class. But in SCSS, when we create a huge project, the project का design जो रहता है, project का structure जो रहता है ऐसा, in this pattern only we can create the SCSS also. So in here we can see the main tab, which is the main tag inside. Okay, so inside this main tag only we are using different divs and one div and one table as of now. So like this only we can create the SCSS file also. Okay, so that is dot main tab with the padding of 15 pixels with the margin of 20 pixels, and also dot main head, which is this one ka styling is done, and now going to main head. So this main head will have display as flex. Now display as flex का मतलब होता है now as some elements like div, main, p tags, these are like block level elements. They will take the whole width of the screen and then they will come one after the other. But when we give the display as flex, it will come as side by side. So we are going to give display flex and then justify content as the space between. Okay, and now we are going to give the main text, main txt as text align center. ठीक है, मेन टेक्स्ट जो है वो यहाँ का है एंड देन उसका हमने टेक्स्ट अलाइन सेंटर कर दिया है. ठीक है, दिस इज द CSS part. And then going to the table, so inside this main tab only we have main head. Inside the main head we are having main text. See the structure now, observe. In the main tab we are having the main head, and inside the main head we are having the main text. Okay, and then by default we have given the class button. Okay, now इस बटन का जो स्टाइलिंग होता है वो यहाँ पे हम ग्लोबली सेट कर दिया है as btn. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And now we are going to give some styling to the table. So now head is a different, now table is a different thing, my man. So just border collapse is a property in the table, and we are going to give it as a collapse because on removing the lines it will be disturbed. Okay, so we are going to give a width of 100%, and then inside the table data and the table head will be having the same style, which is having a border of 1 px solid black, and also we are going to give it a text align as center and a padding of 8 px with the font size of 18px, and also the font weight. The font weight is going to be 600. Okay, so the next one is, now this is for the table and this is for the table head and the table data, table head or table data and the table. We have given the styles for that, and yeah, now I'm not going to just give a button like this. This one looks a little simpler. now अभी उसको हम styling करेंगे. So instead of this delete button, I'm going to give an image tag, which is going to have assets inside the assets folder. So that is inside this assets folder. I'm going to give delete.png. Okay, so the delete.png is this thing that will be given over here, and then इसका जो class है, the button वाला class will be delete image. Okay, and this image, when there is an error or something, now then when we see on the output page the image is not displayed, instead of that the alt delete will be displayed when there is an error. And we are going to give a height of 40 to this image. Okay, and then we are going to also give this update. Instead of this like a text, we are going to give an image as assets / edit.jpg. This is already present in this section. Okay, so inside the alteration I will to give edit, because instead of this image, if there is an error, the image is not loaded, then it showed me the text as edit. Now inside this image tag, I'm going to give a height as same 40. Okay, and then yep, we are done. So the styling part is done. We have also added the images inside the view employee page, and let's just see the output. See, this is the output. employee management system, and then the add employee, and here I need to give some styling inside the SCSS. So let me just go to the view employee SCSS, and then here I'm going to give the styling for that button. Dot delete image, which is having a background color as white, and then the border is also 2px solid white. So I'm going to remove this browser, and then see, now this is the ID one of name Deepak, living in the city, and then here this is the button, and these are the other two buttons. Okay, and we are going to see this. So now we have just given the styling for this button. Now when we click on that, now see view employees. अब यहाँ पे ऐसे कैसे change हुआ? Because I have given the class inside this style.scss which is having a button करके class name. Okay, so this button करके class name जो है, I have given that to the add employee वाला also. See here, this thing, view employees, view employees. When I click on that, we will come back to the add employee wala. So now we are going to add the add employee. Okay, so inside this add employee we are going to create a form. So for that, go to HTML, and then we are going to start the coding. So here we are going to create another div tag of class which says main content, because this is the main content of the add employee page. This will be having a form. Okay, now before doing that, let me just go to the app module.ts. Okay, inside this app module.ts I will define, there in normally in Angular we use forms to take the user input data. So there are two types of forms. Okay, there are two types of forms. One is a template driven and one is a reactive forms. In template driven, we will take the data to perform some specific action, and in reactive forms we will take the data and then store it directly into the database. But in the template driven, we will do some we will perform some actions on the user given data, and then we will store it in the database. So for that I am going to use the basic HTTP form module. So that is forms module, and then I am going to save it, and which I said the HTTP client module is also helpful, because in the upcoming videos we are going to take the data from the JSON server. JSON server क्या है अभी? This JSON server will be acting as a database for our project. So I'm going to import that HTTP client module from Angular common/HTTP. Okay, let me just save it. So these two modules are successfully installed inside the app module. So this app module is having different components, as I said here, these different components inside the app module. Okay, so we are going to the add employee, add HTML inside this add employee page, and then in the output page also I'm going to the add employee page, and then here we can see these. Okay, so inside this main content I'm going to give another tag, so that is the main important form wala tag. Okay, so inside this I'm going to give a hash new employee data, because this form abhi ye kya karega, this will take a new employee data and then store it inside a form. Abhi wo form se leke we will store it into the database, so that is nothing but JSON. So inside this I'm going to give a class name as add new emp, and then upon submitting that form, I'm going to give an action. So inside this template, no, the forms module which we have installed, which we have imported, this is the forms module. Now this will be helpful to use the template driven form. As I said earlier, there are two types of forms in Angular. One is the reactive form and another is template driven form. Now we are using the template driven form. So let me just create an action. So while we are using the template driven form, this will be the definition saying that I am an ng form, which means this is a template driven form जिसका जो नेम है वो ये है, ये फॉर्म का नेम यही है. ओके, नाउ वी विल क्रिएट an action for that, ng submit करके एक action, and then this will do submit employee. Now this submit employee is not declared, so I'm going to define it over here, submit emp. Okay, and then inside this form only I'm going to define a div with class of user, and then which is having an image as assets slash usr wala profile dot jpg, and then save it, which is says new user, and the given as a height as 100. Okay, so inside this form tab I have given an image, and then after that I'm going to start taking the inputs from the user. This one is having the class of each emp, and then which is having a label. Okay, this is having a label with a bold tag inside जो बोल देगा हमको employee name. Okay, and then we are going to add a br tag which comes to the next line, and then I'm going to give an input field which is type text, and then abhi ye sab denge slowly. This is the class of each input. Okay, each input. So make sure the name is correct because it will play a crucial role while we are designing it using the CSS. So each input, and then we are going to give ng model. So this will be helpful for binding of data. In the template driven form, the data will be bind to the forms. Inside the forms the data will be binding. So ng form module, forms module will be useful to do this ng model, and then you are going to give a required because it is required, and then name as emp name. So if we need to work with this input field, so which is having a name as emp name. Okay, so this is present inside the div जो एक के नीचे एक आएगा. Now I need to copy this employee name and then employee city. I need to make this as employee city. Okay, and this one is also going as employee address because I want to give it as employee address. That's it. दिखने में तो city दिखेगा but वो actually employee का address है. ठीक है. And then after this div tag I'm going to give a p tag with the class name as emp message. You will get to know what is this in few minutes. So this is a div tag, and parallelly we can see that there are number of errors where we are dealing with this. So don't worry, don't just close the terminal and close the video and get stressed up. I am going to tell you how to solve all these errors with me. Okay, so अभी यहाँ पे हैं हम I'm going to div a class with emp message. No, with the class of form ka buttons. Okay, and let me just give it a class of emp button, and then just give it the button name as submit. Okay, and then the button as class emp button, and then we are going to give click action to that button, so that is nothing but clear form करके एक function which is having a text as clear. So in order to come up with that errors, we are going to deal with that some. As of now, I'm going to give an image src of assets slash add emp of to web dot gif. You're going to see what is that, and I'm going to remove this alt. As of now, height given as 300. Okay, so yep, we are done with here, and let me just go to the CSS part, add employee wala CSS part. And then we are going to give styling for this page. So inside this add employee wala, we are going to give add a main box, main head, main text, main content. All these class names which I have used, I will give the styling in this one. So stay tuned with me. Main box with the padding of 15 pixels and margin as 20 pixels, and then dot main head, which will be having a display of flex with justify content as space between, and then dot main txt, which is having a text align of center. Okay, अभी उसके बाद लाइक मेन हेड के बाद हम ना मेन कंटेंट पे आएंगे. यहाँ पे मेन कंटेंट, inside this I am going to give display flex, and then margin top as 10px, padding as 10px, and then the gap as 20px. Okay, now abhi yahan pe I need to pause my video, then we will continue in the next video. Okay, just give me some time, we will continue in the next video. Up till then, take care. Just watch the next video thoroughly. I'm going to explain what we are going to do in the next part. Okay, so don't worry about these errors, we will deal with it. So tab tak just keep coding and be happy.